The storm had been circling that house for 3 nights. Not the town, not the forest, just the house. Every other roof in the valley was dry. Every other window was dark. But this one old mansion sat under the lightning like it was being watched by the sky itself. And the strangest part? Nobody in town could agree on how long it had been there. Some said 50 years. Some said 100. One old man swore it was already standing when he was a child, and when his father was a child, and when his grandfather was a child. Same house, same broken tower, same boarded windows, same black gate that never opened during the day. They called it Blackthorn House. And I only went there because of a voicemail. It was sent to me at 3:17 a.m. No number, no name, just one voice, whispering through static. Do not let the rain touch the front steps. At first I thought it was a prank. Then I heard the second message. Same voice, same static. Only this time it said, "You already came once. You just don't remember." That line stayed in my head all the way up the hill, because I had never been to that house before. At least, I thought I hadn't. The closer I got, the heavier the air felt. The lightning kept flashing behind the mansion, but not in the sky. Behind it, like something tall and invisible was standing just out of sight, throwing light around the edges of its shape. Then I noticed something written on the iron gate. Not a warning, a question. Which version of you arrived first? The gate opened before I touched it. Not wide, just enough, like the house was expecting me. The front yard was dead quiet, except for the rain that never seemed to fall anywhere except near the roof. Every drop that hit the mansion sounded wrong. Too heavy, too deliberate, like the house was counting them. I climbed the steps and found mud on the porch. Fresh mud, but there were no footprints coming in, only footprints going out. A child's footprints, small, bare and uneven, as if someone had been running in circles for hours. That should have been enough for me to leave. But then I saw the front door. It was already open. Inside, the hallway smelled like wet stone and burnt sugar. The wallpaper was peeling in long strips, exposing walls that looked newer than the house should have had. Not ancient brick, not old wood. Concrete, smooth, gray concrete. And carved into it were names. Hundreds of names. Some in pencil, some in charcoal, some scratched so deep they looked wounded into the wall. I found my own name near the bottom. Not just my name, my full name, and under it a date. Tomorrow's date. I backed away so fast I nearly hit the doorframe. Then I heard a child laugh from the floor above. Not a happy laugh, a trapped laugh. The kind of laugh someone makes when they've been told to stay quiet for too long. I called out, and the house answered with silence. Then came a soft knock from inside the wall beside me. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps again. And a voice, very close to my ear, whispered, "Good. You found the first room." The first room was hidden behind a wardrobe that was bolted to the floor. That alone made no sense. But this house had already decided logic was optional. When I pulled the wardrobe aside, I found a door that was too small for adults and too clean for the rest of the mansion. It led into a narrow room lit by a single bulb hanging from a wire. In the center sat a chair. In the chair sat a cassette recorder. Beside it was a stack of tapes labeled by hand. Tape 1, Arrival. Tape 2, Denial. Tape 3, The Upstairs Boy. Tape 4, Do Not Answer the Bell. Tape 5, If You Hear Your Voice, Run. My hands were shaking when I pressed play on tape 1. My own voice came out of the speaker. Calm, tired, not surprised. If you're hearing this, then the house let you remember enough to get this far. That means you're close. Don't trust the mirrors. Don't trust the rain. And whatever you do, never go to the room that is already occupied. The tape clicked off. I stared at the recorder, trying to understand how my voice could be on it. Then I noticed something behind the chair. A mirror. Tall, cracked, and covered in dust. I stepped closer. My reflection stepped closer too. Then it smiled. But I hadn't smiled. I stumbled back, and the reflection did something impossible. It lifted its hand and pointed behind me. Slowly, I turned around. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror. My reflection was still pointing. only now it was pointing at the ceiling, at the room above us. And I heard it, a child pacing overhead. 1 step, 2 steps, 3, then a sound like nails dragging across a door from the inside. I climbed the stairs with the kind of fear that makes every sound feel personal. The hallway upstairs was different from below.
Cleaner.
Longer.
Too clean, in fact.
The carpet was new. The walls were painted a pale cream. The lamps were lit with a warm yellow glow that made the whole corridor look almost inviting. But there were no windows.
No dust.
No signs that this floor belonged to the same crumbling mansion below. That was when I understood something terrible. The house was not one place. It was several places stitched together badly, like someone kept rebuilding it from memory and getting the details wrong. Room 7 had a child's rocking horse. Room 8 had dozens of wet handprints on the ceiling. Room 9 had a dining table set for 1 person, with a meal that was still steaming. And Room 10 had a bed, already slept in. The blanket was pulled back, as if whoever belonged there had gotten up only seconds ago. On the pillow lay a Polaroid photo. I picked it up. It showed me, standing in that room. But the date stamped on the corner was 14 years ago. My stomach dropped, because the boy in the photo looked familiar. Not like a stranger, like a memory I had spent years trying to bury. He had my face, not adult my face. Not even teenage me, younger, maybe 8 or 9. I could hear the blood in my ears as I turned the photo over. There was handwriting on the back, just 1 line. You promised you would come back for me before the house finished learning your voice. A knock came from inside the closet.
Once. Twice.
Then a whisper.
Brother?
My breath stopped, because I did not have a brother. At least, I had never been told I did. The closet door opened by itself. Inside was not a closet. It was a staircase. A steep one, spiraling downward into darkness that did not look natural. It looked pressed into the earth, like the basement had been dug by something that hated light. Halfway down, I found drawings on the walls. Thousands of them. The same house, drawn by different hands, different ages, different moods. Some drawings showed the mansion in daylight. Some in fire, some underwater, some with no windows at all, some with faces staring from every pane. And always in the corner of each page, the same sentence. The house remembers the one who stays. At the bottom of the stairs was a room sealed with chains. Not locked, sealed, as if the chains were not there to keep something in. As if they were there to keep something from coming out too quickly. I touched the door. It was warm. Then I heard children talking on the other side. Not one child. Many. Soft voices. Counting voices. Voices repeating names like they were practicing them. Then one voice cut through the rest.
Mine.
But younger. Panic rose in me so fast I could barely breathe. You took too long, the voice said from behind the door. You always take too long. The chains fell away. The door opened by itself. Inside was a room with no furniture, no windows, no dust. Only a single wall covered in tape recorders.
Hundreds of them.
And in the center of the floor sat a little boy, hugging his knees. He looked up at me, and I knew him. Not because I had seen him before, because I had been him. He pointed at my chest and said, very quietly, "You're not the one who came back." Then he pointed behind me. I turned, and standing in the doorway was another me. Older than me, calmer than me, wearing the same clothes. He smiled like he had already won. And he said, "Now you understand why the house keeps opening for us." That was the moment everything changed. Because the older version of me wasn't there to scare me. He was there to finish me. He stepped forward and told the truth in a voice so steady it felt rehearsed. This house was never haunted by the dead. It was built to store the parts of us that refused to die. The little boy on the floor began to cry. The walls started to hum. And suddenly, I remembered pieces I had never been able to explain. The missing years, the nightmares, the recurring dream of rain hitting a roof I had never seen, the smell of wet stone in rooms that did not exist, the voice in my childhood saying, "Don't let the house hear you lying." I remembered that I had lived here once, not as a visitor, as a child, As one of many, the house was not my destination. It was my prison.
No. Worse.
It was my family's solution. We were not trapped in it by accident. We were hidden inside it because something outside was hunting our bloodline, one generation at a time, and the house had learned to split us across time to keep us alive. But the house grew smart. Too smart. It started keeping copies, versions, echoes. And I was not the original me. Neither was the older one. Neither was the boy. We were all leftovers from different attempts to escape. The last tape recorder turned on by itself. A final message played. My mother's voice. Broken.
Soft.
Afraid. If you found a room, then the storm has already begun again. Listen carefully. The house is not trying to kill you. It is trying to choose which one of you gets to leave. Then the power went out. When the lightning flashed, the boy was gone. The older me was gone. And in the mirror at the end of the room stood only one person.
Me.
But the reflection was smiling wider than I was. And it whispered, "Tell them the truth." So here is the truth. I did leave the house that night, but I was not alone. Because when I got back to town, my shadow did not follow me. It stayed behind on the hill, right beside the mansion, waiting at the gate, like it had finally found its way home.